We now have what is being called the second Rogue One trailer, as the first one is considered a teaser, and we have a ton of stuff to talk about, including 3 new shots of Darth Vader. The trailer was pretty exciting. Keep in mind, we will be incorporating all the information we currently have on the film into this breakdown, and while I will avoid major spoilers for the film, I will be addressing everything we see, as well as taking into account all the information about the film that has been gathered thus far. With that said, let's go ahead and begin. The opening shot is of Director Krennic's shuttle as he descends to a planet in search of Galen Erso, who is Jyn's father. From the prequel novel Rogue One Catalyst, before the rise of the Empire, Krennic and Galen were friends, and during the end of the Clone Wars, Galen became highly sought after for his advancements in energy. Eventually, he was tracked down and captured by the Separatists, but luckily, Krennic was there to rescue him. It is revealed in the novel Krennic has been involved with the creation of the Death Star long before the Empire, and was in Palpatine's inner circle governing over the project. Krennic intends to use Galen and his research to bring the Death Star to pass by mastering its key component, the super laser. In the book, Galen discovers what Krennic plans to do and he is able to escape, although in the novel, his wife is alive, and because she is not with them in the trailer, we can only expect the worst. Back to the trailer, Galen tells Jyn that whatever he does it to protect her. This is of course referencing he will likely be forced back into the project by Krennic, but it will offer some type of protection for Jyn. We know Jyn flees the scene and is pursued by Krennic's special troops known as Death Troopers, but she is able to escape. The scene is likely linked with the promotional image of a Death Trooper holding a Stormtrooper doll, which was likely Jyn's. We then cut to Jyn in an Imperial holding cell. I think it is fairly obvious this is the very beginning of the film, and the scene with Jyn and Galen on the planet could very well be the opening, as the film could begin in space with Krennic's shuttle descending to the planet, as all Star Wars films begin in space, and I suspect this trend will continue in Rogue One. We then get another cool shot of Jedha with a Star Destroyer hovering over the village, and we get to see Jyn broken out by the rebels. Back to Jedha though, the planet was once very sacred to the Jedi Order, as we see early in the trailer a partially destroyed statue of a Jedi Knight. For a time after Order 66, the planet became a place of refuge for people close to the Order, as many ventured there to pay respects to the fallen Jedi. With the planet having a great number of Jedi supporters, of course rebellion sparked there. The Imperial occupation is there because of this. However, we know Saw Gerrera, a Clone Wars veteran and longtime rebel, is there leading an insurgency against the Empire. This is also where we will find Donnie Yen's Chirrut, who is in fact Force sensitive, although not on the level of a Jedi or Sith. Chirrut likely falls in the middle between a Jedi and a common being concerning the Force, but that does not mean he does not hold deep respect for it, which he clearly still does. He even commands it to the point where he can use it to fight and maneuver despite the fact that he's blind. This is very similar to what we see the Jedi Knight Kanan Jarrus doing in Rebels, although they are separate characters. We next hear Cassian Andor and the leader of the rebellion, Mon Mothma, speaking to Jyn about her father. As we learned a while back from the international trailer, the reason they hold so much intel on the Death Star is because secretly, Galen has been sending them information on it. This could also likely factor into one of the major critiques of the original Star Wars, that during the final battle to destroy the Death Star, there just happens to be a port that, if shot directly, will begin a chain reaction to destroy the superweapon. The case could be that Galen had a part in designing that section, and purposefully left a weak point for the rebels to exploit on a future date. We next get to see the rainy planet where we now learn Galen is being held. There was information a while back that revealed Vader would have a major scene in the rain where he battles the rebels, and it is clearly at this Imperial base. Near the very end of the trailer, we also see Galen on the ground wearing the same clothes again in the rain that is in this scene, and is likely linked with this shot of Galen and Krennic. It's quite possible Galen says something or refuses to do something and Krennic or one of his men strikes him. Following is our first shot of Darth Vader, which is a slightly extended one from the other Rogue One trailer. He appears to be looking at a graph of a planet, likely Jedha, on the bridge of the Death Star. Immediately following is a scene with Vader and Krennic, where Krennic states Vader does not know the power they are dealing with. This is a comment that will likely frustrate Vader, as even in A New Hope he stated the power to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force. While Vader is very much involved in the Empire, he was never really crazy about the Death Star, as it was planned long before he became a Sith, and he truly believes the weapon is overhyped, if you will, and he can achieve more with his use of the Force. Krennic of course disagrees, as this is essentially his life's work. We briefly see another shot on the bridge of the Death Star with the planet of Jedha displayed on the screen, of course showing us they are targeting the planet. Next is a brief shot of the rebels as they understandably freak out about the Death Star. This is followed by an amazing blend of practical effects and CGI, as an AT-ST walker is seen blasting at rebels on Jedha, of course showing us things do go very bad. We then see the cybernetic legs of Saw Gerrera as Jyn tells the rebels they do have hope. Then is an amazing shot of an Imperial base on the planet of Scarif. We know here they are mining for Kyber crystals. The same crystal used in a lightsaber is also the key to making the Death Star super laser function, and Scarif is ripe with the crystals. These crystals are likely the last key to make the Death Star truly a weapon to be feared, as earlier it is implied the weapon destroys at least a part of Jedha, which we do see a new look at, but that the reaction is much different than in the first Star Wars. This is also where we know what many believed were AT-AT walkers are stored, but we now know they are known as AT-ACTs, which stands for All-Terrain Armored Cargo Transports, indicating this is how they transfer the crystals. Next up is a shot of Jyn, Cassian, and K2 in disguise infiltrating the base on Scarif. K2 was actually previously an Imperial Enforcer droid that has been reprogrammed, so he fits in already. Cassian is dressed as an officer, and Jyn is disguised as an Imperial ground crewman, which was recently confirmed by LEGO. I now briefly want to go back to a shot from the first trailer. In this shot, we now know this is not the Death Star, as there are shore troopers present, and is probably the interior of the Scarif base, where we see Jyn and the rest disguised as Imperials. What this is looking like to me is Jyn and some of the crew infiltrate the base, and it is here that they steal the plans. Of course the Empire pursues them, but I assume the rebels launch an attack on the outside, giving Jyn, Cassian, and K2 the chance to break in and steal the plans, with reduced numbers being inside the base. Next up is more of Jedha, with both Baze and Chirrut's skill on display, which is very impressive on both parts. Next, various shots of the rainy planet and a huge rebel attack. It is this battle that I assume is the finale, and of course the scene Vader is rumored to take a heavy part in. We also see a brief shot of Chirrut and his signature new blaster, taking out a few stormtroopers and shore troopers. We then get a few fantastic shots of a space battle with the iconic X-Wings, and I'm honestly not sure where this occurs. It doesn't seem to be the Death Star, so I'm guessing it involves the rebels breaking through a blockade. I am guessing to either Scarif or the currently unnamed rainy planet. After this is a big highlight for me, a U-Wing fighter flying past the AT-ACT walkers on Scarif, then briefly Baze and Chirrut outrunning the walkers in the jungle of the planet. We now have two big moments left, one with Saw Gerrera telling supposedly Jyn to save the rebellion, to save the dream, as we see small debris falling behind him. I think this signifies the arrival of the AT-ST which we saw earlier, and might be the end for Saw. And finally, the shot of Darth Vader emerging from the mist to greet Krennic. In the first teaser, we saw the same or similar mist surrounding a tank, and Vader emerging from similar mist could confirm it is in fact Vader in the Bacta tank, or what is supposedly a Bacta tank. So that was the trailer 2 for Rogue One. Overall, pretty satisfying, and we now just have a few months before we get to actually see the film. So what did you think of the trailer? Is there anything I missed? If so, leave it in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts on the trailer and the marketing for the film overall. Has it met your standards, and what kind of role are you expecting to see from Darth Vader? If you enjoyed, please leave a like, as it helps the channel out a great deal. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related. If you have any lore topics or questions you want answered, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at StupendousWave on Twitter, or leave a comment and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to that topic. Thanks again for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.